That's Mike and Julia Jabara. Mike Javara was born in 1888. Julia was born in 1897. Together, they had 9 children. And there's a picture of children that had 5 boys and 4 girls. The 5 boys, as seen in this picture, is Joe and Eddie, Frank, Harry, and George Jabara. The oldest, Aunt Victoria, was the oldest. She married George Carnes. Aunt Victoria was born in 1912. Her husband, whom she married, George Carnes, they moved to California, where they lived most of their lives in California. He was a welder, and Aunt Vic worked for the county, Orange County, in California. The second oldest was Helen Comia. She married Helen Jabara Comia. She married Edward Comia, and Helen was born in 1913, and her husband Edward was also born in 1913. Together, they had 3 children. The oldest was Eddie Comia Jr. He was born in 1936, and the second was Richard Comia. He was born in 1942, and the youngest was Rose, and she was born in 1949. Now, this picture of Rose at the last reunion, and this is a picture of Rose with Aunt Martha on the left, Aunt Mary, and Carol in the picture. This picture of Ed, taken April of 2000. I'm not sure what year that was. It's Ed Comia there, and this is Ed having a plate of food, going outside, getting ready to eat. One thing that Ed shared with his Uncle Harry was a birthday, and a lot of times they celebrated that birthday together. Ed's oldest son, Greg Comia, he married his wife, Beth Comia, and they had a daughter. They have a daughter. It's Camille Comia. This is also at the last reunion. And Ed's second oldest was Jeff Comia. This picture of Jeff. And Jeff is married. His wife is Susie Comia. Now, Ed's third child is Debbie Hager. Debbie Comia Hager, married Kenny Hager, and they have a number of children whom I do not have the pictures of. Now, the second, Richard Comia, is the second child for Ed and Helen Comia, and Richard and Judy Simpson have several children. This is one of them here, and I'm sorry I don't have pictures of the rest of their children. So the next one after Aunt Helen is Uncle George Jabara, and his wife is Helen Nafee Jabara. And this picture of Aunt Helen, and sitting at one of the reunions. And this picture is a picture of Grandma Jabara, Julia Jabara, Harry Jabara, and George Jabara, sitting at Harry's house. Now, George Jabara's oldest son is George Jabara Jr., and he is married to Judy Jabara. And this is a picture from the last reunion. Now, the second oldest of George and Helen was Bill Jabara. And I don't have any current pictures of Bill. He passed away October 2000. This Bill and Helen at my wife's wedding. Bill had a belly dancer for Bill at his birthday party, which was on July 5th during some of the reunions. Bill has 2 daughters. The oldest is Tina Jabara. Tina's helps with the reunions as far as cooking and stuff as well. And Tina's sister, Selena. And both girls were very active in helping with the reunion. And this is a picture of them with their sitti, Helen Jabara, in the middle there. There's a picture of Tina and Selena getting ready to eat at one of the reunions. The next son is Larry Jabara, and Larry's married to his wife, Jan Jabara, and they have a son, Corey Jabara, and Corey is married to Diane Jabara, and they have 2 children. And now Larry is the third child of Helen and George Jabara. Corey's son, Luke Jabara, here, and their little daughter, Charlotte Jabara at the reunion. Jan they have a son, has another son, Chris Grant, and he is married to this Brooke Grant. They were at the last reunion. They have 2 children, and their oldest is Ella Grant. There's a picture over here, and her little brother. Here he is, Mason Grant. Now the 5 boys, the youngest is Thomas Jabara. This picture of Tom. Tom and his wife, Susie, do a lot of the work for the reunions, cooking and stuff. They have 2 boys. This is their son, Jason Jabara, and he is married to his wife, Cheryl Jabara. And they were at the reunion. You can see the background of these pictures, the current pictures from the last reunion. Their oldest is Madeline Jabara, and their younger daughter is Allison Jabara. Now, Tom and Susie also have their other sons, Josh Jabara, and Josh and his wife, Sarah Jabara. They have 3 children. The oldest is here. This is Jenna Jabara, and she has a younger brother. In his picture here, Jacob Jabara, and then they have a little brother, and that's Jackson Jabara, that you see in this picture. Now this next picture is the aunts and uncles that were at one of the reunions. This is July 9th, 1989. You see there, that was all the aunts and uncles at the reunion. Now Harry Jabara was the second son to Julia and Mike Jabara. Harry Jabara is married to Mary Jabara. Now Mary, there was already a Mary Jabara, so she became Mary Bell Jabara, which was her middle name. This picture of Harry and Mary Bell Jabara. This picture. Now Harry Jabara, like I said, he and Ed Comey shared birthdays, and a lot of times they got together and had on the 29th of December and had a birthday party. There's a picture of Harry throwing horseshoes at reunion at Aunt Mary's house. That's Brock Jabara. That's Harry Jabara's oldest son. Brock is married to Gloria Jabara. And there's the picture, this next picture of Brock and Gloria at the last reunion. And Brock's oldest son is Bacchus Jabara. Bacchus is married to Melinda Jabara. And there's a picture, Melinda's picture. And Bacchus has 2 daughters. That's the first one's Celeste Jabara and Madeline Jabara. They're both in high school at this time. And together, Bacchus and Melinda have a daughter. Her name is Akira Jabara, and a young son, Riker Jabara, who's a lot like his dad, real active little young man. And Brock's younger son, Yule Jabara, is married to Vanessa Jabara, and there's this picture of Vanessa at the last reunion. They have 4 children now. The Riley Jabara, this picture, and Piper Jabara, and their little girl, Esma Jabara, and then their little boy who's just, he wasn't at the reunion, Anson Jabara. Didn't quite get there in time for the reunion. And then Kenny Miller is there with Brock and Gloria, and is married to Wendy Miller, and they have a little daughter, Ellie Miller. And Kenny's brother is Chris Rundle. It's with Brock and Gloria, and he's not married at this time. Now, Mike Evans is married to Jane Jabara Evans. That's Harry and Mary Bell's second oldest child. And Mike and Jane have 2 daughters. The oldest, Carrie Evans. She's Carrie Evans Ryan. She's married to Jake Ryan. And they have 2 boys. And I don't have a current picture of the 2 boys. Here's a little bit older picture from one of the reunions. Trent and Sean Ryan there with Carrie and Jake. Now, Jane and Mike's second child, Alicia Evans, is married to McLean. So it's Alicia Evans McLean, married to Mike McLean. And they have 2 children. Their oldest daughter, Sydney McLean, you see in this picture, and her little brother, you see in this picture, is Zach McLean. And the 3rd child for Harry and Mary Bell's Robert Jabara. Hey, that's me, yeah. Well, thank you for taking my picture. And my wife, I married Mary Javara. She was Mary Margaret Jabara, or she was Mary Rich Jabara. And we have 4 children. Gretchen Jabara Holman, my oldest. Gretchen is married to her husband, James Holman, Jim Holman. They have 2 boys. The oldest in this picture is Isaac Holman, and their youngest is Caleb Holman. The next child Robert and Mary have is Byron Jabara, and Byron is married to Becky Jabara. And the youngest child, no, not the next child, not this, is Rebecca Jabara, and Rebecca has one daughter, one child, name is Lauren Jabara Standifer. Now the next child is Rebecca's twin, is Nathan Jabara. Nathan is married to Angie Jabara, and they have 3 children. The oldest is Henry Jabara. See Henry there. And their daughter, next child, is Sophie Jabara. And then the youngest for Nathan and Angie is Louis Jabara. The next child for Harry and Mary Bell is Candace Leming. She's married to Tom Leming. And there's a picture of Tom. And then Candace Leming is right there. And there's a picture of Candace with her granddaughter, Abby. Candace Leming. Candace and Tom have 3 children. There's Justin Leming. They have 4 children, I'm sorry. Justin. There's Alexa. Justin. And Alexa has 2 brothers, Zach. And in this picture you can see Ben. Zach and Ben are twins. And then their little sister is Abby. And these pictures are not current pictures, so these children are a little bit older than what's shown in these pictures. Now Candace and Tom's next child is Sarah. Their next child is Sarah, and Sarah's married to Chris, and that's their child Leo. They're in the picture. And their next child is Rachel Reyes. Rachel's married to Alan Reyes. There's Alan's picture. And they have 3 boys. The oldest is Tristan Reyes, and Tristan's little brother in this next picture is Adam Reyes. And then their youngest child is Nico Reyes. Now Candy and Tom's 4th child is Matthew Leming, and there's his picture, and he is engaged to be married to his fiancée Jennifer. Okay, the next child after Harry was Frank Jabara. That's his picture there. He's married to Wanda Jabara. You can see Wanda there. And they have 2 children. That's an older picture there, Wanda and Frank Jabara. Their oldest is Paul Jabara. Now, Paul is married to Linda Jabara. There's Linda Jabara's picture there. And Linda has 2 sons. This is Scott Thomas there. Scott is married to Jennifer Thomas. This is Jennifer's picture. And they have 2 children. Picture of Robbie Thomas there. And his little sister right there is Allison Thomas. Scott has a brother. His name is Mark. And this is a picture of Mark with his son Blake Thomas. And this next picture is a picture of Blake there by himself. So now Paul and Linda have a daughter, Heather Cipher, is married to Tim Cipher. That's Tim. And this is Paul and Linda's daughter. Heather, and they have 2 children. That's Jackson Cipher. And the little guy here is Logan Cipher. And this is a group picture of Linda and Paul and their kids and their grandkids in this picture. So the next child, Frank and Wanda, is Janet Burger, and she's married to Paul Burger. That's his picture there. And then this next picture is Janet Burger. And their oldest child is Marty Burger. See Marty's picture there, and he is married to Toby Burger, and this is Toby's picture. And they have 3 children. And I may have these at Lily Burger. I think she was the middle child, and I think that this next picture is Riley, and I believe Riley is the oldest, and then their little brother. They're coming up next is Connor Burger. And now the youngest of Janet and Paul is Roger Burger, and there's Roger's picture. Now, no, the youngest is Ann Burger. It's right there. Sorry, Ann. Yeah, she's the youngest. Okay, so Roger and Ann. And this next picture is a picture of Janet and Paul and their kids and their grandkids in the picture. The next one after Uncle Frank is Uncle Eddie, and he married Charlotte Addis Jabara, and they have 2 children, David Jabara, and David's sister is Julie Jabara Inslee. Now this next picture is Julie's daughter, Jenna Inslee Smith, and their children. And Julie's son is Jared Inslee in this picture. Now, Aunt Charlotte is in this picture with her son and daughter, Julie and David Jabara. This is an older picture taken in January '56 of Eddie and Charlotte Jabara. And here's another picture, not quite as old, with Charlotte and Eddie Jabara. Now, the next child was Joe Jabara, and Joe was married to June Jabara, and they have 3 children. So this is a couple pictures in here of June Jabara. This was at one of the reunions, and this is an older picture of June and Joe together. And then this is a picture of Joe and June at my wedding. I took that picture, and then their oldest child is Jeff Jabara. This is a picture of Jeff out on a boat, and his wife, Nancy Blackstead Jabara, and they have a son, Jeremy Jabara, and his wife is in this picture, Lauren Kata Jabara. They have a child, a daughter, and her name is Dylan Jabara. And Jeff and Nancy have a daughter, Jamie Jabara Buer, and Jamie is married to Eric Buer. Jamie and Eric have 2 daughters. There's a picture of the 4 of them together here, 2 girls. And then I have a separate picture with their daughter, Malia, and her sister, Haley Buer. Jeff and brother is Joe Jabara, and Joe is married to Christy Brewster Jabara, and Joe and Christy have a daughter, Kelsey Jabara. Joe and June had Jeff and Joe and Judy Jabara, and Judy's Jabara Ayers. Judy is married to John Ayers. This is a picture of John, and they have a daughter, Bethany Ayers. This is a picture of Bethany, and they have a son, and Bethany's brother is Brian Ayers. Now, after Uncle Joe, the next child in line was Aunt Mary Jabara, and there was Mary Lee Jabara. I said, "Smile, Aunt Mary," and then she smiled for me. This was at her house where we had a lot of the reunions, and her friend here is Carol Hill. A couple more pictures of Carol Hill. Carol continued to come to the reunions even after Aunt Mary passed away, and when she could make them, she would come to our reunions. And the youngest of the 9 children was Martha Jabara Sharp, and she married Ray Sharp. And there's a picture of an older picture I don't have of Ray Sharp. And then this is a wedding picture of Martha and Ray Sharp, and a picture on the couch here with Aunt Martha and Uncle Ray, a little more recent there. They have one child, a son, Drew Sharp, is their son. And now this next group of pictures is some older pictures. This first one you can see Aunt Helen in the back holding a baby. I'm not sure who that little guy is. And Rosie is next to them. And you can see some of the boys in the front and the girls in the front there. A lot of the kids at Christmas time at Grandma's house. And the next picture is another picture of that's Ed in the back on the left. He was older. You can see he's quite a bit older. And Grandma Jabara back there holding the baby at this time with Rose back there, and in the front some of the kids sitting around for Christmas time at Grandma's house. That's where we would go. The next picture of the men at the table, they had their drinks there on the table. Most of them drank, but not all of them. Not all the brothers drank. I know that Uncle George and my dad Harry were big, and Ed Comey is back there, and some of the others would have a drink during the Christmas time, or most of the times. And then, so this is another picture of the group of kids and stuff with Ed Comey in the back and Grandma. This is a little better picture of at the table, and you can see that on the right seated is George Carnes, and kind of behind him is Grandma Jabara, and then seated to his right, that's Ed Comey in the back, and standing up behind him is Joe Jabara, and sitting on the end of the table is Frank Jabara, and then next to him is George, and then coming this way on the middle of the table on the left, that's Ed Jabara, and then Harry Jabara is at the front on the left of this table. So they were good conversation, I'm sure. And the next picture, another group picture. This was not Christmas time. This is Grandma sitting in the chair there. I'm sitting in the front, and then cousins and stuff in the back. I think it's Aunt Wanda sitting in the middle in the back, and then Aunt Helen with a couple of her boys back there with her. So just posing for the picture. Now this is a dinner table shot that I included. It was taken during Brock's graduation. It was like May 1965, and you can just barely see Uncle Joe on the left, and next to him is Uncle George, and then not part of the Jabara family, but my Uncle Clem and Aunt Louise, and that's my grandfather Ed Elcory in the back with his wife Zakia. But next to her is Aunt Helen Comey, and next to Aunt Helen is Grandma Jabara, and then my Dad Harry Jabara. And back in the corner to the right, you can see Brock at the table back there with George Jabara, cousin George Jr., and I'm not sure if that's me on the end or not. One of the other cousins. So this next picture is Grandma Jabara, Julia Jabara, smiling from a camera, and she was really good about smiling. Sometimes though, like this next picture, she made a face at me, and I said, "Smile, Grandma," and she kind of stuck her tongue out, which was kind of fun. But I thought I'd include that picture just to show Grandma. Now this picture of the uncles is or the brothers and Aunt Mary. Now I don't believe Aunt Martha was there at this reunion, so it's Joe on the left, and Mary Lee Jabara, and Frank Jabara, Eddie Jabara, and then my dad Harry Jabara on the end at the right there, holding his hat, a red hat. So just posing for the picture. Okay, and this next picture of the men standing up. That's Ed, Frank, Harry, and Joe Jabara. Now this is a much older picture, and I think that that's standing, and I'm pretty sure about this, that standing on the left there, well, in the middle is Mike Jabara and his wife Julia Jabara, and in front, the little girl in front would be Mary Lee, and behind Julia is Helen Jabara. She was still a Jabara then, I'm pretty sure. Behind Mike Jabara is George Jabara. Next to George is Harry Jabara. Now, in front of Harry is Grandma, and I'm not really sure which if that's Grandma Jabara or Grandma Annette. And then on the right there, I believe that is Eddie, and then in the chair is Joe, and then on the far left would be Frank, I believe. So I'm not positive, but I believe that's what it is. This next picture was taken on July 1982. It's at Aunt Mary's house in her yard there, which we took a lot of the pictures. And this was 1986. And again in 1986, this is a picture of all of the cousins that were available there. And then another one outside of Aunt Mary's house in June 2008. And then back in the yard on June 2000. Now you can look at these pictures in the folder. This is June 2009. And then the last group picture is May 7th, 2017. And that was our last reunion. I also included a picture of the Jabara family tree. You can enlarge this picture and look up close at it and see the names on it in the file. It should enlarge okay when you take it out of the folder on the DVD. Okay, so and I made a mistake earlier, and I made a correction on it with this time. So after the family picture or picture there, I included I said Mark. This is Mike and his son Blake Thomas. So it's Mike. Sorry, Mike. Anyway, it's Mike and Blake Thomas in that picture. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate all you for smiling and helping me make this DVD and the picture book that I made as well. Thank you.